This is
yes, he did write it.
That of all the things that we're talking about here, immunizations, vaccines, autism, the research
worse than 30
about on communicable diseases, on cancer, and you are the most concerned about someone's use of the word people.
Yeah, because
that's the most important thing.
Because you were just complaining about the politicization of science,
and I can't
think of politicization of science more than that.
Top of the morning. What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Abby Phillip and her panel on her CNN show go up against their in-house troll, Scott Jennings. He's usually very disingenuous, but in this case, he turned it up to 11. I know she's getting tired of him, but having someone on there whose only job is to push back against anything they're talking about makes this show kind of interesting. Even though he's getting kind of predictable, he may want to switch it up sometimes just to keep everybody on their toes. Let's watch these clips and I'll give my thoughts on it afterwards.
The direction that the country's public health is going is not one that is evidence-based or science-based, which is why our resignations are really together are trying to raise a red flag for everyone.
RFK Jr. came in knowing what he wanted the science to say.
Exactly.
And it sounds like from that official, what is happening is that he is making pronouncements and then finding things to back it up. I mean, this is stuff that affects real people's lives, vaccines,
We're in National Immunization Awareness Month.
Immunizations.
I hear the criticism from this person. I just have to say, he did use the term pregnant people in his resignation.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry. If that is like the way you're presenting information, I have questions about your credibility.
Scott, it's so amazing.
It's not a ruse. He really wrote it down.
We are talking about
this guy's not credible to me. That's all I'm telling you.
Scott, are you serious?
Come on.
No, he is not credible.
No. Are you serious that this is
yes, he did write it.
That of all the things that we're talking about here, immunizations, vaccines, autism, the research about on communicable diseases, on cancer, and you are the most concerned about someone's use of the word people.
Yeah, because
that's the most important thing.
Because you were just complaining about the politicization of science,
and I can't
think of politicization of science more than that, or of what some of these people said to the American people during COVID. So the credibility of some of these folks who are complaining. Look.
Okay, so
I'm complaining, and I'm a public health and preventive medicine physician. We in the NAACP are complaining, right? And we are an iconic civil rights and human rights organization. There is reason to complain, Scott. You have a person who, during his confirmation hearings, said that Black people had a different immune system, that we should follow a different immunization schedule. You have a person who has spent his life undermining science, credible science. The people who walked out of the CDC, the people who resigned, these are not flippant folks. These are not people who did this on the slight of a turn. These are people who dedicated their livelihoods, who dedicated their hearts and their expertise to safeguarding the health of all Americans. And now we are compromised, not just from a health and well-being standpoint, but from a national security standpoint. What's going to happen when the next outbreak or pandemic arrives?
Play this because Scott seems to think that RFK Jr., who says things like this, is more credible than people who have degrees.
I literally didn't say
in
that.
the subject.
Why do you say things I didn't say?
Why
are you saying I said that? I didn't say that.
When I was a kid, and I know what a healthy child is supposed to look like. I'm looking at kids as I walk through the airports today, as I walk down the street, and I see these kids that are just overburdened with mitochondrial challenges, with inflammation. You can tell from their faces, from their body movements, and from their lack of social connection. And I know that that's not how our children are supposed to look.
Science. Hashtag science.
Scott Jennings is hilarious and is always up to some type of shenanigans. He's just waiting for anything to choose and focus on that can completely derail the conversation. And to the rest of the panel, you guys are trying to debate with him as if he has any type of morals. He's not debating from logic or morals. He's only looking for the word that he can focus on to piss y'all off. You can see that he's not serious in his face. He knows that he's not actually fighting for anything. He knows that he doesn't really care about what they're doing, cutting cancer research, cutting any type of research for anybody. It doesn't really affect him until it does. He's there to cheerlead a team, and that's it. So use your time to to inform everybody else about what's going on. Don't worry about what he's saying.
This is why Aziz Shah said, this is wacky flat earth voodoo stuff. Please, Peter Hotez, please send a few introductory biology textbooks to the Department of HHS. I mean, look, the reason, Scott, I said what I said is because rather than you seriously answering a question about the real concerns that were raised by these officials about the bending of science to the will of that guy, you decided that the most important thing to you was their lack of credibility because they used the word people. I mean, I just think I understand the rhetoric and the political.
You realize that you're accepting some politicization of science, but not others, right?
What's the politicization of science that's been accepted?
Can men get pregnant or not?
Scott,
if you're in the CDC and you believe that, I'm saying you're not a terribly credible person.
The CDC that is responsible for the health and well-being of the nation.
That has absolutely nothing.
Nothing
to do
to
with
it does, because it's a question of whether your scientists are going to politicize or not, and you accept some and not others.
To do with the conversation that we are having.
That's just the stuff.
I disagree. It's a credibility.
Why would we do that when people have died and are dying? Why would we do that when people's children are being dehumanized
in this country about real things, when everything just becomes about buzzwords
or political products?
I don't understand why you're rejecting this criticism of someone's credibility.
Because I think that what matters to people in their homes is whether or not they know what immunizations their child should have, which, by the way, immunizations have saved so many lives.
I'm not disagreeing with you about that. I agree.
What matters to them around the world is not what words are being used
I think it does matter,
by people.
Because it tells me what kind of person
it is. It is whether or not they can trust that the guy who's making decisions about their health actually knows what a mitochondria is.
Yes, and when we focus on, imbecilic things such as that, that's why people are then subject to misinformation and disinformation, and they resort to violence, Scott. There was just it's not violence. This is not a laughing there was a shooting at the CDC.
There's attacks on ICE agents
every day. A police officer is dead. There are people rejecting the fact that people are
now you're blaming this.
I think
you guys cherry pick these things like
we don't cherry pick.
You're the biggest cherry picker.
There's nobody who's justifying attacks against ICE officials. And nobody should justify or diminish somebody shooting hundreds of bullets into a workplace where people
are trying to save lives, where people are practicing public health.
I don't understand why that would even be a comparison that you would make, honestly.
Because it's a great way to not answer the question.
Look at how easily he was able to derail the whole conversation and make them talk about this nonsense. And like the doctor said, imbecilic statements. That's his job. His job is just to be a troll. Have you never dealt with a troll? They just want attention. If everybody's going right, they want to go left. It's a type of personality. It's who they want to be known as. It's not about logic. If everybody says, oh, I like PlayStation and Xbox, they're going to say, well, I like PC. Just because they want to be different, even if PC is the master race. Anyways, it's all about being different than whatever you guys are doing. If he felt like it was quote unquote popular to be against science, then he would be like, oh my God, I can't believe you guys don't trust the experts. Because he's not really there to push anything besides, like the doctor says, imbecilic statements. His job is to troll y'all and knock y'all off y'all game. And y'all as the panel have to be more resilient. Because if we know that he's only there to troll, then you have to know that. You're sitting with him every day. I don't think Scott is an idiot as much as a paid troll. And then eventually it's going to be a moment of the boy who cried wolf, where he's going to be serious and nobody's going to ever take him seriously. And only then he's going to realize that he's been wasting all of this opportunity this whole time. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And if you want to see Morning Joe completely lose their minds trying to set a trap and then it fails, click this video right here. And if you're still watching this far, you might as well subscribe to the channel. Peace.